so long Gurame, and hello Hatay, also known as Antakya. Please hit the thumbs up button on the bottom left, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. So I met a really great guy who was camped next to me in Gurame. His name is Afro Ferrari, and he's driving this 40-year-old Renault all over the place and doing wonderful things, seeing wonderful sights, and being quite the traveler. Really cool guy. Super fun to follow him on Facebook, and he's such a nice guy. So this is heading out of town. The balloons are up again as usual, and this is a different view of that volcano that I can't pronounce the name of, and kind of iconic with the flag there. If anybody knows what this refinery is, please let me know in the comments. Very unique. I have never seen anything even close to resembling that before. And here's just a fun car that I saw that I thought people might like. And so as I got up into the mountains, there were tons of tunnels, and I literally lost count of how many I went through. It was just one right after another. It was kind of fun to go through them, but the scenery around the mountains was just so stunning, and beautiful green valleys, and then these jagged peaks, and it was so much fun. And going up this mountain pass was a gas on the motorcycle. This is sped up. I wasn't actually going this fast. I was going fairly fast, but so nice to be in the mountains. I love the mountains. That's where I feel connected. So it was nice to be back there, and I hope you enjoy some of the scenery as much as I did. And then this is nearing the top of the pass. Great roads. The roads were stellar, and here we are. So almost 1,900 meters high. It's really nice. And then the downhill part reminded me of the backside of Loveland Pass, and just had that feel, the steep, curvy, high mountain road. I don't know, kind of made me feel like Colorado. And then here's some snow on the peaks, another Colorado moment.
Hello. Cool.
I love the gas station attendants. As I got further south, it got much more agricultural, and here's some peppers in this roundabout. It was pretty cool. I love that. And then I was getting hungry, and I saw that place. I'm like, that looks amazing. So I made a super quick U-turn. Well, not really a U-turn, but I got through this roundabout and got back over to that restaurant as quick as I could. And interesting, there was hardly any cars there, a few when I arrived, but by the time I left, the place was packed. Obviously a local favorite. There was a lot of people there. If you're in the area, there's the sign. You should go there because this dude is a genius. The guy at the grill there. This was the best food I've had in Turkey to date. So spicy and good and yummy. And it was super cheap too. I don't remember how much, but pretty cheap. There are 4 people on that motorcycle with the sidecar, and they're making it happen.
That's a nice car.
Super. Where
What's that?
are you from?
United States.
Turkish. Good.
Turkey's great. I love Turkey.
Where are you from?
United States.
What?
United States. Turkey is great. I love Turkey.
What?
I love Turkey.
Turkey is very good.
Yeah, very good.
And it's true, I do love Turkey. And as I got further to my destination, this gentleman flagged me down on the highway and ended up buying me lunch. It was so great. He's such a nice guy. He was with his cousin, and they were both just wonderful and so generous. And he's going to come up again later, so don't forget that face. And eventually I found my campground. I had a little bit of trouble finding it, but This campground has been a source of supplemental income for this family since the 2023 earthquake. But since then, the attendance has gone down and they're really feeling it. I'm going to include information in the description about this camping area, and I really hope that their attendance is boosted and that they feel the blessings from this. They invited me to this amazing breakfast. It was so good. And everything except for the tea and Nutella they grew or produced right there on their farm. Then this is me riding out of the little camping area up the hill to the road and going into the city. Now the city is like mostly under construction since the earthquake. I can't imagine the devastation. There were still areas of rubble, but many of the roads were closed and in pretty rough shape. And people were so willing to help me. Like these two people, they just stopped and just started to help and listen to this exchange for directions. It's pretty awesome.
Sağ devam edecek hep. Saint-Pierre Kilisesi müze
Saint-Pierre
değil mi?
Kilisesi müzenin oralarda.
Müze, evet.
Müze. Yeni konum isteyin, yeni konum. Dur şöyle.
And of course I understood none of that, but I absolutely felt the love and they were very willing to help. This is like everyone in Turkey. They're so great. And I'm going to include information in the description about the earthquake. Tens of thousands of deaths, millions and billions of dollars of destruction. It was so sad. And when I talked to several people about the earthquake and I tried to acknowledge their trauma, the first thing that every one of them said was, "We are alive." And like they had to focus on the fact that they did not die and that they were still here and still alive, and that was the most important takeaway from them. And then eventually they could talk about how awful it was and what a terrible event it was, and then describe how it felt and some of the events surrounding it, some of the things that were lost. And many of them knew people that die. When you have like 56,000 deaths, you're going to know somebody, or at least know somebody that knew somebody. It was very palpable, the trauma of this event, and it was a major disaster for this region and in the world. It's one of the strongest earthquakes in recent history. And it was very palpable driving through there and experiencing the roads and seeing the construction and all the cranes. I totally thought of you, Aaron, when I saw all the cranes and like the heavy equipment riding down the road. But then they're so friendly and accommodating. Look, they just like wave to me right there. How nice is that? And then there's a market. This is just a few kilometers out of town, and there's they're having their daily market or whatever, and it was so nice. And I was headed to Church of St. Peter, St. Pierre is what they call it, and I'm going to include information in the description about this too. And I'm headed up the hill, and again, this is another total different vibe, and it was so much more peaceful, and it was very clean and well maintained, and it was a real tribute to how the people there value this church. And this is looking out from the church back into the city. You see the dust, just dozens of cranes working on construction. And then this gentleman was leading goats up the path, and I wondered for how many thousands of years people have been leading goats just like this. Here's some areas carved in the cliff face, similar to what I left in Gourmet. Really interesting. You can pause this and read about the church. I'll also include information in the description below. This facade was added by the Crusaders later, and there's a mosaic in there as well. But these pillars and then all this stone and brickwork was all added like 1,000 years ago by the Crusaders. The altar came later. I don't remember exactly when. And there's a statue up there of St. Peter. Yeah, this is all work of the Crusaders here. And this is the mosaic floor that was added by the Crusaders as well. But there's an escape tunnel there in the corner that when the church was just a cave in the early days and people would come to raid it, they would escape into the mountain. The water would seep in here into that collecting pool, and they would baptize people with that, including St. Paul was baptized there. And they would also use it for drinking and medicinal purposes and things like that. Here's some more of the mosaic by the entrance. And by that time, I was hungry for some lunch, and I tried to find a restaurant. And here's some more friendly Turkish people. His buddy had to wave hello as well. And I couldn't find the restaurant that was recommended, and this guy was trying to help me out. And I love the pantomime, and I got that I needed to make a U-turn, go the other way. And along the way, I saw this 1300 and wanted to comment on it. And I didn't realize it at first, but it was a police bike. And the police came out, and they're going to show me a restaurant. And there they go. I'm like, wait for me, guys. I'm hurrying. And so I caught up to them and followed them to this restaurant. And they didn't have to do this. They could have just pointed, but they gave me an escort to the restaurant. And then when we got to the restaurant, like, I'll show you that he showed me where to park, and like he connected me with the owner of the place and helped me order, and like he did everything. He didn't need to do this. I had nothing for him. And he totally helped me. This food was also amazing. Yeah, that's a lot of food, and it was super yummy. I left that place stuffed, and the owner was a great guy. So I'm showing this roundabout because the first day I came in here, my GoPro died, and it was packed with traffic, like 4 or 5 across, where it should be 2, maybe 3. And when the next day is like, what a difference a day makes. There's some earthquake damage on that building. So sad and terrifying to me to see that. Really scary.
Away?
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really dig the gas station attendants. They're so awesome, and they're so careful and very friendly, and they're just really fun to interact with. Makes getting gas a pleasure. So I wanted to do something for the family that I was camping with, and so I stopped here and I bought some oranges and some pears, and there they are there. And so I went back and I took it to them. And then the next day I met my friend from the other day for breakfast. He and his family invited me. Look at this table. And every one of these people were so kind to me and so generous with their time. This is their mother's flower garden. They had a huge garden in the back. They were profoundly impacted by the earthquake. It destroyed their home. And again, they said, but we are alive. It was very sobering. This was really an amazing leg of the trip with the guy who I had lunch with, the police that took me to the restaurant, the family that shared their breakfast with me. It was really humbling and so moving. That was a significant part of this trip. God has been obvious and at work through every part of this trip for me, but seeing the resiliency and the kindness and generosity of the people of Hatay really was humbling and so profound. Here's the list of my supporters again. Thank you for your generosity and your support. And my mom is always asking about my motorcycle. So, Mom, here's a picture of my motorcycle for you. Yes, the Bactrian is doing great.